This is CBC Here and Now.
We've got a lot of anxious people waiting to see a plan, and as I say, now we're into July.
No plan? That's a big problem for this education critic. When will we know what September and the school system will look like?
All of a sudden I had a bunch of free time, so I started putting these together.
A pandemic pastime, blocking lockdown with Lego and recreating the West Coast.
Nature's own air conditioner kicked in today, but how long will it last?
Welcome to Here and Now. I'm Carolyn Stokes. Those stories in just a few minutes. But first, tonight, more proof the COVID-19 pandemic is taking a toll on families and relationships. It's coming from lawyers who specialize in matters like custody, child and spousal support, and marriage breakdowns. Here and Now's Terry Roberts reports.
If you're a lawyer specializing in personal injury law, chances are your phone has not been ringing off the hook these last few months. People just weren't out and about during the quarantine period. And probably for that very same reason, solicitors who specialize in family law have actually been looking for help these last few months.
I would say I probably would need someone else to come help me fairly soon.
St. John's lawyer Melanie Del Rizzo has been helping couples separate and divorce for 25 years. But June was her busiest month.
One Monday morning, I know I had to call 8 new clients before 11 o'clock. So that's unheard of. It's absolutely crazy for one lawyer to, and 20 new clients by Wednesday, I think it was, who were looking for help.
And this lawyer tells a similar story.
We're used to advice calls on a regular basis, but the sheer volume, it's unprecedented.
Early on during the pandemic, lawyers say they were swamped with issues related to child custody and child and spousal support payments, all driven by fears of the virus and the thousands of people who were thrown out of work. And with the courts closed to all but urgent matters, lawyers and their clients had to be creative, and some people had to make tough choices.
Some parents decided they would agree to a reduced amount of child support for the duration of time that payor parent was unemployed. Other parents weren't able to come up with an agreement, and some payor parents actually had to liquidate investments in order to meet their child support obligations during this time.
Not surprisingly, this crisis has placed a great deal of stress on marriages. There may just be a shadow pandemic brewing, one some lawyers are calling COVID divorce.
To me, it appears to be something that is real, and it would make sense to say that it would be a real thing.
I actually have never seen this level before.
Every day, I'm getting more and more calls for people looking for help.
People often take stock of their lives during a crisis, and it appears those who may have been in declining relationships before the pandemic may be feeling that added motivation to make a change in their lives. Terry Roberts, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, the opposition is pushing the province to reveal its plan for the upcoming school year. This after the education minister promised to share a strategy by the end of June. All this uncertainty is leaving parents with a lot of questions. Here and Now's Heather Gillis has more.
It's still not clear what classes will look like for K-12 students in September. Mid-June, Education Minister Brian Warr said students would be back in school, and he promised a plan for what school would look like by the end of June. But so far, no details.
There's a lot of uncertainty at this point.
From busing to daycare and the possibility of juggling online learning and work, parents like Nikita Doucette have a lot of questions.
Is it going to be like a rotating schedule? Or is it going to be full-time? Is it going to be limited classes? Is it going to be online studies?
The PC education critic says the province has had ample time to develop and release a plan, and as borders begin to reopen, he's concerned about face-to-face instruction and the potential spread of COVID-19.
So is that a game changer? Maybe.
Craig Pardee says the province hasn't addressed the internet issues, how some rural areas have poor connectivity, and how they'll cope if classes are offered online.
But if we don't have connectivity in many areas, we don't know as to what methods or what steps have been taken in order to enhance the connectivity.
And with speculation over whether or not there will be busing, Pardee says many parents are worried for their immunocompromised children. Even without a plan, we do know one thing: classrooms won't be nearly as full. As for hands-on learning, the English School District says schools will need to minimize the sharing of high-touch items. In a statement, it said teachers were encouraged to critically assess what will be a minimal supply that both allows curriculum outcomes to be achieved and is manageable from a hygiene point of view for continued student and staff safety. The Newfoundland and Labrador Teachers Association also says it's hoping to see an education strategy, saying the development of that plan must be through careful consideration of public health guidelines, as well as the health and safety of students, teachers, and school staff, but not by an arbitrary date.
Tuesday, Premier Dwight Ball said they're still planning for a number of scenarios for schools, while the Education Department says they'll release a comprehensive plan in the coming days. Heather Gillis, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, the fallout continues over Air Canada's decision to pull many flights out of Newfoundland and Labrador. 7 routes inside the province have been cut, and today CBC is learning about the number of jobs that will be affected. Here and Now's Garrett Berry joins us live. So Garrett, how bad is it?
Yeah, Carolyn, dark clouds say on the horizon, and especially in the aviation industry here in Gander. At one company alone, almost 200 jobs have been lost since April, all because of COVID-19. Exploits Valley Air Services is that company, the company that flies the routes for Air Canada that have been canceled. Their business has been plummeted and has been pummeled by travel restrictions and cancellations. The routes were first cut in April, and this week's news of an indefinite suspension means potential long-term pain. CEO Pat White says he's had to lay off more than 2/3 of his company's workforce. That number includes almost 3/4 of the company's pilots. According to the union that represents them, out of 60 pilots, only 15 are still on the job. They're mostly flying cargo routes.
Oh my God, massive. I don't exactly know what the numbers are, but it's just heart-wrenching. Evis Air is actually a team of people, rather than a corporate name. The real energy behind the operation. So it was just heartbreaking, and my goal is to work diligently to try to get that level of activity back to rehire as many of those people as we can.
That company, and Pat White says he's still talking with Air Canada even as late as today and trying to maintain a relationship with them. White says he's hoping to bring as many employees back into the fold as he can. Evis owns their own plane, so White can re-enter the market independently and start to advertise and sell flights. But with travel restrictions and the plummeting economy, he's in a wait-and-see mode.
So I'm actually watching to see. I want to be careful of when we inject ourselves in whatever market we decide to go into. But, we have to see where this COVID-19 is going. This is the craziest thing that has ever happened in the aviation business since December 17th, 1903 in Kitty Hawk, North Carolina at 7:30 in the morning. This is crazy.
And it's not just crazy in Gander. The union representing aviation workers says there's been job losses at Air Canada in St. John's, in the customer service and office staff. That union says the federal government has a big role to play now in stabilizing this industry.
Employers have to apply to the federal government for their wage subsidy replacements. So we do have many workers on that. That program needs to continue, and we need to ensure that, when there are services needed in our various regions of the country, that our local businesses do step up and support. And as soon as it's safe, both in our Atlantic bubble, which is due to open on the 3rd of July, hopefully we'll see our region start to see more and more people travel as well. And that certainly will help put our people back to work.
Big impacts in Labrador too, of course, Carolyn, where Air Canada has also cut flights. Happy Valley Goose Bay Mayor Wally Anderson says those Air Canada cutbacks are devastating. He says people in his town and in his region depend on those flights for important medical appointments and important other travel. He wants to lobby for another airline to come in and set up shop in his region. Carolyn.
Thanks so much, Garrett. That's Here and Now's Garrett Berry reporting live from Gander. Well, the collapse in the oil sector is hurting the future value of Nalcor Energy's oil and gas investments. The corporation recorded a $225 million impairment charge on its White Rose and Hibernia South Extension assets. A charge like that happens when the book value of an asset exceeds what it's worth in the current market. The write-down resulted in Nalcor losing $171 million for the first quarter of 2020. That's compared with a quarterly profit of $92 million last year. Nalcor says the impairment charge reflects the future outlook for oil prices and has nothing to do with historical performance. Oil companies around the world have reported similar hits from a collapse in oil prices driven by COVID-19 and a production dispute between Russia and Saudi Arabia. Despite the loss in value, the Crown Corporation says oil and gas sales and royalties continue to generate significant cash for the province. Now to news from the courts. A 3-year saga that started on the edge of Signal Hill has finally come to an end. A judge in St. John's has found a man guilty of attempted murder for trying to throw himself and his roommate off the edge of a cliff. As Ryan Cook reports, it came down to a he said that didn't end well for the accused.
Their names are withheld due to a court-ordered publication ban. Their occupation, engineers, and their relationship remains a question mark, friends or something more. There was a lot for Justice Vikas Kaladkar to wade through in this case. Cultural differences, language barriers, and two combative witnesses with very different stories. Kaladkar sided with the complainant and found fact in his story about a trip to Signal Hill gone wrong. The accused grabbed the complainant on April 7th, 2017 and tried to pull them both down over the hill. He says he slipped, but Kaladkar ruled it had all the markings of a murder-suicide attempt. In his 44-page decision, Kaladkar says the accused gave evidence that was contrived, misleading, or downright untrue. The accused, an Iranian man in his early 30s, was remanded to custody while awaiting a sentence. Kaladkar says that was necessary in order to monitor his mental health, something that was at the root of the evidence in this case, leading both men to Signal Hill that day. Ryan Cook, CBC News, St. John's.
We have an update tonight on a story we first brought you earlier this week about the chaos surrounding Mount Pearl's City Council. The province says it's aware of ongoing issues and is monitoring them. But at this point, the Department of Municipal Affairs says it would be inappropriate to comment on the city's legal matters. On Tuesday, 2 Mount Pearl councillors, Andrea Power and Andrew Ledwell, were removed from office for failing to declare conflicts of interest in the Steve Kent harassment investigation. Both deny any wrongdoing. At the time, Ledwell had wanted the Minister of Municipal Affairs to intervene and take over custodianship of the city. One West Coast man is making the most of his downtime during COVID-19. Terry Randall has recreated landmark buildings in Pasadena using Legos. The deputy mayor used his passion for building to show some community pride. Tonight, Here and Now's Colleen Connors is sharing his creations.
My first building was our Pasadena Foodland. And I followed it up by building a building known as A. Watton & Son, which is down near Pasadena Beach, and that is a former store site. There's nothing in the building now, but it's, I would say, a landmark building here in town. And then after that, I built the former Pasadena Recreation Center, which doesn't exist anymore. It was torn down to make room for the new Pasadena place. What I've been doing so far has been buildings that are interesting to me and are kind of landmark buildings in the community, and as well as ones that I have Lego to build them. Like, for example, I only have a very small number of brown bricks, so for example, I wouldn't be able to focus on any of the buildings with a lot of brown in them. Lego's always been something of a bit of interest to me, so for different Christmas gifts over the past number of years, I've been given different Lego sets from the Lego Architecture series. So all of a sudden I had a bunch of free time, so I started putting these together. And I put, I think, probably 7 sets together. They would include, like, I did something with the Statue of Liberty, the Empire State Building. I did a skyline for the city of Tokyo and Dubai, and there was a couple of others there too. So it started as that, and then I ran out of those sets because the I guess pandemic went on further than I anticipated, I guess, and most people. And so I had to dig out my old childhood Legos, and then that happened a few weeks ago, and then this project came up, and I just went with it.
Well, the pool's open in St. John's today. Not exactly swimming weather, but June was fairly warm. I'll break all those numbers down for you and have your full forecast coming up.
This weather update is brought to you by Newfoundland and Labrador Tourism. This year, it's Stay Home Year, the year to rediscover home.
Ashley is here now with a look at the weather forecast, and quite a cool down today, Ashley. But you know, we've had a really good run.
We certainly have. You know, today the pool's opened here at Bannerman Park. There's nobody in there right now. It looks like there were some people here this afternoon. Not exactly pool weather today, swimming weather for sure, but yeah, we have seen a relatively warm June. Let's take a look at some of those numbers across the board. Here in St. John's, we've reached 20 or more degrees 19 times, and this is including May as well. So we typically, the warmest months are July and August, so we've certainly got lots of time to get there. The average time that we'll see is about 53 days, so we're well on pace for that, which is good news. Other areas so far this year: Gander 24, Deer Lake 22, and then Lab City also seen 14 days so far above the 20-degree mark. Only 3 in St. Anthony and 9 in Happy Valley Goose Bay. But overall, it has been lovely. Not so much today. These were our temperatures earlier today, actually in the morning. 18 degrees was the morning high for St. John's, and those temperatures have dropped through the day. 10 in Deer Lake, 18 in Corner Brook, and then we've got temperatures in the single digits along coastal Labrador. 9 degrees was the afternoon high in Cartwright, and 18 in Lab City. Like I said, those temperatures have dropped, not so much along the south coast, and the reason why we're seeing this drop in temperatures is because we're starting to see that onshore flow. So finally, the south coast is seeing some warmer temperatures: 19 degrees in St. Lawrence, 18 in Port aux Basques, and then we have that temperature around 15 degrees for Happy Valley Goose Bay. It is still a little bit humid, but nowhere near what we've been seeing for the past couple of days. So we do have some showers working its way across the western portion of the island right now, and will continue to do so as we head through the overnight tonight. We're seeing some drizzle and fog in eastern areas, and that will generally continue. So some rain, heavy at times, will work its way towards central, continue for eastern Newfoundland pretty much through the first half of tomorrow, and then we've got some cloud cover for the coastal areas of Labrador. Overall, pretty quiet night for you. However, those temperatures will be cooler, about 4 degrees in Cartwright, 7 in Lab City, and then temperatures in the single digits from St. John's to Corner Brook, and then staying in those double digits just barely down along the south coast. 10 degrees will be the overnight low in Marystown. So we'll see some showers and drizzle continue for the first half of tomorrow for eastern Newfoundland. We should see some clearing skies for central into the afternoon, maybe a few pop-up showers along the west and south coast. Otherwise, going to be a fairly quiet day for most of Labrador. However, we could see the potential for some thunderstorms developing in Lab West tomorrow afternoon. But again, these temperatures are going to stay much cooler, certainly in the east, barely reaching those double digits in St. John's, 13 for Clarenville. And then as we head towards the interior and the west coast, that's where some of that warmer air will be. About 18 degrees should be your afternoon high in Corner Brook. And then Port aux Basques hovering around the 14-degree mark. Those winds generally light along the west, and then in the east and the northeast, you're looking at northerlies, 20 to as much as 40 kilometers per hour. And then up through Labrador, coastal areas back up into the teens. Plenty of sunshine for you through central, or the interior rather. 18 degrees for Happy Valley Goose Bay, and then 16 in Lab City, and again with that risk of some thunderstorms. Into Saturday, things will stay cool. The potential for some showers up across the Big Land, and some cloudy periods with some showers developing for the western and northern areas of the island as we head into the evening hours. And then by Sunday, some more northerly flow, so some fog possible, and generally gray skies for the east with some showers up through Labrador. Temperatures will recover slightly, sitting in the mid-teens for Gander, 16 degrees 11 in St. John's, again staying generally cloudy, 19 for Corner Brook, same thing for Happy Valley Goose Bay, and then Nain, you should be hovering around the 10-degree mark. We will unfortunately hang on to these temperatures in the teens right through to the middle. At this point, looks like the middle of next week, with cloudy, staying cloudy through the weekend, and then some sunshine will peak out both Monday and Tuesday. At this point, looking dry, so that's good news. For both central and western Newfoundland, again, hanging on to mid to high teens, eventually reaching that 20-degree mark as we head into Tuesday with some sunshine. And then for eastern Labrador, temperatures are going to climb up nicely. We'll eventually start to see that heat into the 20, even mid to high 20s into the beginning of next week, and plenty of sunshine for you in Lab West. So I had to share this great shot of the rainbow over Tor Bay. Thank you so much to Kyle McGraw for sending that great shot in. If you have any weather photos to share with us, send them to nlphotos@cbc.ca.
What a cheery photo. Thank you, Kyle, and thank you, Ashley.
No problem.
Here's something else cheery. It's another day with no new cases of COVID-19. That's good news as the province gets ready to open its borders to visitors from other Atlantic provinces. Starting tomorrow, people from New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, and PEI won't have to self-isolate when they arrive. The province says it will still be screening people upon arrival. Anyone visiting will have to show 2 pieces of ID to prove they live in Atlantic Canada. They will also have to share contact information with health officials. And St. John's International Airport is bringing in some new safety rules starting tomorrow when the province joins the Atlantic bubble. Masks will be mandatory for everyone entering the airport terminal. That goes for both staff and travelers. The airport is also limiting the number of people who have access to the building, so those picking up or dropping off passengers are asked to wait outside, though the airport says exceptions can be made in special circumstances. Well, from flights to ferries, with the announcement of the Atlantic bubble, Marine Atlantic has received more than 3,000 new reservations. The ferry service had previously been limiting the number of passengers to 100 people per crossing, including commercial travelers. It says it's working to safely increase that number over the coming weeks. So if you want to make a booking, Marine Atlantic says you can expect more spots to become available for July. Well, 1970 was an extremely hectic summer for ferries. Tourists in North Sydney were lining up for days trying to secure a spot on a crossing to Newfoundland. With the Atlantic bubble beginning tomorrow, we've dipped into our archives to bring you this report from CBC's Bill Curtis.
The problem can be stated simply. More and more tourists want to go to Newfoundland, and there's not quite as much room for them on the ferries. Traffic is up by about 10%, and people arriving at the terminals without reservations are due for a long, anxious, and sometimes futile wait. They hope for no-shows, the travellers with reservations who don't turn up. The no-show rate is high, often up to 30%, and most of the dockside waiting list makes it aboard. But at weekends the pace gets frantic, and as many as 200 passengers without reservations have been left behind. Part of the difficulty was caused by the sinking of the Patrick Morris in a storm earlier this year. The CN has chartered the Cerdic ferry from Britain for the summer, but she carries mostly freight with little accommodation for tourists. So the word is get a reservation wherever you are, or you're taking a long chance against a long wait.
Last weekend, for instance, we had on Sunday morning here, we had 202 automobiles and over 700 passengers showed up without reservations. We got them on by Tuesday, and of course this meant a lot of waiting.
But you would advise anybody who wants to go to Newfoundland really to have a reservation?
Anybody that wants to go to Newfoundland should have a reservation, and as I said earlier, there's no reason why people should show up here without them. They can get them at almost any point in North America.
The jam up at the ferry terminals is causing some loss of tourist trade for Newfoundland. Travellers who insist on confirmed reservations and find none available at short notice often don't go. And officials agree that if the present increase in traffic keeps up, matters can only get more hectic in the future. Bill Curtis, CBC News, North Sydney.
And no doubt it will be hectic for the next little while on the ferries. Well, how's this for alternative travel? For those desperate to take a trip, but perhaps a bit cautious at the idea of flying during a global pandemic, here's a possible solution. An airport in Taiwan is simulating the travel experience. At the downtown airport in the capital, 60 people were chosen at random from about 7,000 applicants. The prize? A pretend vacation. They were handed mock itineraries at check-in and scrutinized by passport control services and security before being allowed to board. The so-called flight was going nowhere. More fake flights will be held in the coming week. I guess in this case, it really is more about the journey than the destination.
I think now more than ever, it's such an important time for young Indigenous people to have a voice and to, tell their own story.
He's directed music videos like this one, but this young filmmaker from St. Bernard's is gearing up to create a short film that will reflect his Indigenous roots, and he's getting support from streaming giant Netflix to do it. He'll tell us about it coming up. The pandemic has thrown a curveball at one young filmmaker from this province. Tim Miles grew up in St. Bernard's and moved to Toronto to work in film. He was just accepted into a mentorship program that helps develop Indigenous artists, and he joins us now from Toronto. Hi, Tim. Nice to meet you.
Hey, Carolyn. How you doing?
Excellent. Thank you. So tell us about this mentorship program. How big of a deal is this for you?
Oh, it was huge. I'm so thankful to Imaginative and Netflix for the opportunity. So it's basically to develop a short film as an Indigenous artist, an Indigenous actor, and a filmmaker. And when I found out that I got it, it was amazing.
And what role does Netflix play in all of this? It's a pretty big name, right?
I know. Every time I say it, I kind of have to check myself a little bit. Netflix is in partnership with Imaginative So they help fund the project and kind of like market me as well as an Indigenous actor and filmmaker, a young filmmaker, just to help kind of pave the way for new Canadian artists. And they've been great.
So tell us about your short film. What's it called? What's it about? And at what stage is it in right now?
Yeah, so the film is called Little Bird, and it's actually based off the name that my grandmother gave me when I was little. She had nicknames for all her grandchildren, and mine was Little Bird, so it felt right to name it that. So the film is about a young man who is processing the death of his mother. Um, it's at the actual funeral for his mother, and he's in the middle of giving a eulogy, and it just all is a little too much for him, and he just gets a little overcome with grief, and he ends up actually taking his mother's urn and running away from the funeral and kind of just spending one last day with her. And it's based on my own mother's passing. I lost my mom in 2013 from polycystic kidney disease, and so it was kind of an homage to my mother.
And so what stage is that film at now? Because the pandemic has thrown in a few challenges for you. What are the plans for Little Bird?
We were slated to go to camera in August, and obviously that can't happen just because we're kind of waiting on when the government says it's okay for the film industry to open back up. Luckily, Imaginative and Netflix and Lyft, they all they really believe in the project, and they're just, whenever it's time to film it and whenever it's time to like launch back in, then it's gonna happen. Yeah.
So this mentorship, it's meant to develop Indigenous artists, to promote authentic Indigenous storytelling. Can you tell us what that means to you?
Yeah, I think now more than ever, it's such an important time for young Indigenous people to have a voice and to, tell their own story. There's so many stories that we have and other Indigenous people have and other marginalized groups in general. And I think, the way everything has happened now, we have been doing a good job, and I think that Canada is really at the forefront of that. But I just think it just needs to continue to happen, and also not portraying Indigenous people in such a caricature, I guess, of like what it means to be Indigenous or what it means to be an Indigenous person on film or on TV, and that there's there's so many stories to tell. You're a person.
Well, Tim Miles, it's such a pleasure to meet and introduce another young talent from this province. Good luck on Little Bird and everything going forward.
Thanks so much. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Well, do you have a story you want us to know about? We would love to hear about it. Please reach out to us. Our email address is hereandnow.nl@cbc.ca, and you can also reach us on Facebook or Twitter. Our page is CBCNL. Well, here's a very bizarre story. If you're on TikTok, you might be hip to this next online challenge. It's all about scoring the ultimate trade-up. The idea is to start with a small item, post it online, and then offer to trade it for something bigger, and then keep passing that object on, scoring better and better items with every trade. Well, a man on Prince Edward Island was inspired by that idea, so much so he was able to trade a fishing hook for a sailboat. Here's how. It all started when Josh Lindsay heard about a man who started with a paper clip and ended up with a house. So he went online with an ad to trade a fishing hook. 13 trades later, Lindsay had gotten paintings, jewelry, even a marijuana plant. He ended up with the ultimate prize, though, a sailboat. And just get this, after all of that hard work, he's decided to give it away.
Having too much fun, and I said, okay, let's turn this into something, and because I seem to have engaged a lot of people around these trades. People were commenting online like, this is so exciting, I can't wait to see what happens next, and a lot of people wanted to participate, but they didn't have something to give. They didn't have something to trade. So I figured maybe I'll turn this into a giveaway type of thing.
More like a real-life treasure hunt. Not a bad idea during COVID times. People had to search for clues around a campground and try to find a golden hook. Just like the one he started with. Everyone who found the golden fish hook was entered into a draw for the big prize, his boat.
A whole lot more fun to just do something a little different. And I feel like people right now, 2020 is like this crazy mix mash of feelings. I feel like we could use a lot of fun right now. So.
For sure. And Lindsay runs that campground you saw there. He says the winning team doesn't just get a boat, they also get to keep the golden fish hook. Lindsay says he hopes he can turn his ultimate trade up and treasure hunt into an annual tradition, but he can't promise he'll be able to score as big as a boat in the years to come. Welcome back to Here and Now. In national news, a man has been charged with criminal negligence causing death and criminal negligence causing bodily harm in a deadly mishap involving a farm tractor he was driving. 3 children were killed and 7 other people were injured. It happened last night about 55 kilometers southeast of Montreal. CBC's Kate McKenna reports.
I'm on the street where the events took place last night. Police officers have been driving up and down the street all morning, and they were here for much of the night trying to piece together exactly what happened. So here's what we know so far. Police were called to the scene yesterday around 7 o'clock. There was a man driving a tractor with 10 people inside of the bucket. Police say they're not sure exactly what happened, but somehow those people fell out of the bucket, and unfortunately the tractor drove over some or all of them. So we're talking about 4 children and 6 adults. Unfortunately, 3 of the children died. 2 adults are in critical condition. So far someone has been arrested. The driver of the tractor, a 28-year-old man, has been arrested, but it's sending shockwaves through this community. We spoke with one man earlier. Here's what he had to say.
There's nothing anybody wanted to see. That, you know, it affected a lot of people, and ambulances have to come back after to get some adults that probably were witnesses to the scene to take them to the hospital for a shock there.
I was also speaking with some other people earlier today who didn't witness it personally, but they did say that they're very worried to find out who the victims are in this case, because in such a small community, they probably know who they are. Kate McKenna, CBC News, Notre Dame de Stanbridge, Quebec.
Well, to Ottawa now. Police say an armed man arrested at Rideau Hall this morning is a member of the armed forces. He's a Canadian Ranger. A source tells CBC News he had traveled from Manitoba. He had a note and was armed with a long gun. Police were called after the man gained access to the grounds of the Governor General's official residence. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and his family have also been staying on the property at Rideau Cottage. Neither the Trudeaus nor Governor General were home at the time. Investigators have been focusing on a black pickup truck and a damaged gate at Rideau Hall. Supreme Court of Canada says it will not hear a new appeal from several BC First Nations over the Trans Mountain pipeline. The decision effectively ends the legal challenges to the expansion of the pipeline. Ottawa approved the project for a second time in June 2019 after completing a new round of consultations with Indigenous communities. A legal challenge by the Squamish Nation and several others was dismissed in February, prompting the appeal to the Supreme Court. As usual, the court gave no reasons for the decision not to hear the case. The expanded pipeline will triple the amount of diluted bitumen flowing between Alberta's oil sands and a port in Burnaby, BC. Most First Nations along the route support the project. Health authorities in southwestern Ontario have issued an order that will effectively shut down a farm. The owner of the farm has been ordered to isolate employees and cease all work until further notice. Officials aren't identifying the farm, but CBC has confirmed it is Nature Fresh in Leamington. Nearly 200 workers there tested positive for COVID-19 over the weekend. And more than 1,000 migrant farm workers in southwestern Ontario have been diagnosed with COVID-19, and 3 of them have died. Last week, the province introduced measures to protect foreign laborers, but as CBC's Jonathan Gatehouse explains, undocumented employees are falling through the cracks.
It's an open secret around town. Advocates estimate that there are at least 2,000 undocumented workers in the area. Farm laborers who aren't here on official government permits, hired instead via temp agencies and fly-by-night recruiters who shuffle them from farm to farm, taking a big cut of their pay. Rogelio Munoz Santos, a 24-year-old from Mexico, died after testing positive for COVID-19. He came to Canada on a tourist visa. This man worked with Rogelio in a greenhouse. We're calling him Juan to protect his identity because he too is undocumented. Their jobs were arranged by a Canadian recruiter, their wages paid in cash, their safety overlooked. We started to get sick, he says, all of us. We knew that we had the coronavirus. Some of their final days together were spent living in this motel in Leamington. They abandoned me. They never gave me anything, he says. Same with Rogelio. They also abandoned him. This undocumented man is from Guatemala. He came here on a temporary foreign worker permit, but when it expired, he stayed. We're protecting his identity because he's afraid he'll be deported. In the past month, he says he's worked at 4 or 5 different farms. Are you frightened that you might get sick?
No,
at the moment I'm not scared, thank God, because to me it doesn't exist so far, he says. Around 1,000 workers have tested positive so far on farms, but this number tells us little about the health of undocumented workers, a group officials know about but can't seem to reach.
It is a different level of barriers for those who are not currently documented as workers here, and so their assumption is that this type of testing is not available to them.
Testing is available for everyone, but undocumented workers fear that coming forward could mean being deported. And with families back home depending on their wages, for many it's not a risk they're willing to take. Jonathan Gatehouse, CBC News, Leamington.
Turning now to some international news, there has been an arrest today in the ongoing investigation of sex abuse accusations against financier Jeffrey Epstein.
Today we announced charges against Ghislaine Maxwell for helping Jeffrey Epstein sexually exploit and abuse multiple minor girls from the period of 1994 through 1997.
Maxwell, a longtime companion and confidant of Epstein, was arrested in New Hampshire. She's facing several charges related to enticing and procuring minors for illegal sexual activity and 2 counts of perjury. Jeffrey Epstein killed himself in jail last summer while waiting to go on trial on sex trafficking charges.
being a big guy or having facial hair, it's just hair, like it just grows. There's no reflection of the person you are based on your facial hair.
Someone said it's the beard that's on the inside that counts.
It's about just showing people as people, put on a tail, like now you're a merbai.
It's not just about men in tails, it's about pretty much anybody in tails, and that's kind of the beauty of merbeis.
I want people in different ways to see men being depicted in ways that they're not used to seeing them.
There will be some people who are maybe challenged by what they're seeing. But first and foremost, we're all gorgeous.
Welcome back to Here and Now. Well, all of this rain is good for the garden and therefore good for gardeners. Many of us are spending more time around the house these days, so CBCNL teamed up with the folks at the St. John's Tool Library for tips on do-it-yourself projects you can tackle at home. This next one is for those of you with a green thumb, how to make a homemade garden stool.
Hey everyone, it's Brian Kane from the St. John's Tool Library, here today to show you how to build a simple tripod folding stool. Let's get started.
The tools we'll need are a drill bits, tape measure, utility knife, ratchet or wrench, a marker, and a straight edge. For material, you will need 3 pieces of 1.25" by 24" wooden dowels, a sturdy material for our seat. I'm using a heavy plastic, 2 3/8" long bolt, a 2" eye bolt, 2 nuts, 3 wood screws, 3 finish washers, and 3 regular washers.
To get started, I cut a dowel into 3 legs. I made them 23 3/4" length. You can use a dowel from any home building store, old shovels from Snowmageddon. You gotta mark down 10 3/8 from the top. We're gonna drill these out. I got a 3/8 bit. Find the center. We're going to put one little pilot hole in the top of each one of these legs, roughly center. 1/16 of an inch bit, just to make a pilot hole so our screws don't crack the wood. Next we got to lay out a seat. Any sturdy material will do. I'm using an old broken kids pool. We're going to lay out a 16" equilateral triangle for our seat. Alright, now to assemble. Just grab one of our legs. We got a 2 3/8" bolt, just something long enough to go through the whole assembly. Put a washer on, go through, and grab an eye bolt. This is a second leg, another washer, and I got an acorn nut, but a regular nut will do. And coming off of this eye bolt, grab the third leg. Next thing we're going to do is splay our legs. There you have it. Simple tripod folding stool. Hope you enjoyed the build. For a list of details on tools and materials used, check us out on Facebook or at our website at stjohnstoollibrary.ca.
Looks like a pretty easy project. Well, turning now to some international news, here's a topic that we've discussed a lot in this province. A ban on single-use plastics in markets and malls came into effect for the 11 million residents of the Indonesian capital yesterday. But today, the bags were still being used. Shoppers and market vendors say more time is needed to comply, and some complain that for items like fish or chicken, there's no alternative. The penalty for breaching the ban ranges from written warnings to fines of nearly $2,000. Here in Canada, similar bans have been imposed, but plastic bags have made a comeback during the pandemic. Efforts to eliminate plastic waste have been undertaken worldwide. Indonesia actually imports plastic waste for recycling. It is also said to be the world's second worst offender in dumping plastic waste into the sea. Well, before we leave you tonight, I'd like to tell you about a Facebook Live CBC is hosting in just a few moments from now. Just before the pandemic, an exhibit opened at the Rooms called What Carries Us? Newfoundland and Labrador in the Black Atlantic. And with the global Black Lives Matter movement gaining momentum and a push towards anti-racism, the exhibit is particularly timely. Starting at 7 o'clock Island time, CBC NL will host a conversation with the exhibit's guest curator, Bushra Junaid, I hope I'm saying that correctly, as well as Memorial University professor and author Sonia Boone. So to join in, you can just head over to the CBC NL Facebook page. Well, thank you so much for spending part of your evening with us. Hope you can join us again tomorrow. It's Friday tomorrow. Good night.